Hello. Okay, so today we are going to be reading Act 3 of Julius Caesar. This is actually the act where all of the crazy stuff happens. So just sit back, make sure you're reading along in your textbook, make sure you're trying to kind of make sense out of what you're hearing. And again, we're starting on page 861 in our textbook. And don't forget, in the previous act, we had both of the gentlemen, Brutus is having sleepless nights. He meets with the conspirators. They decide they're going to kill Caesar. Cassius suggests killing Mark Antony as well, and Brutus says, no, that'd be too violent. We'd look like murderers, not just problem solvers. So they decide just to kill Caesar. His wife, Brutus's wife, Portia, implores him to let her know what's going on. He decides he's going to, but he doesn't get a chance to tell her. Had he told her what was going on, she might have been like, Brutus, this is a terrible idea. You should definitely not kill Caesar. Could have solved the entire problem, but he didn't get that opportunity to have that conversation. Then we go to Julius Caesar's house. Calpurnia's been having terrible dreams, and she tells Caesar, please don't go to work today. This is a bad day for you. It's the Ides of March, and bad things are going to happen. Caesar decides he's not going to work, but when Decius comes in, remember Decius said he could convince him with flattery, and he does so. He gets Caesar to go ahead and think, Calpurnia, of course I should go into work. I can't be afraid. This is silly. So Caesar decides to go. So he is heading to the capital. It is the Ides of March, and everything is about to happen. Okay? So you should be on page 861, and I'm going to start with our actors reading at the beginning of Act 3. And of course, I'm going to continue to pause whenever whenever there's something we need to discuss real quick. Okay? Okay.
The Ides of March are come.
Aye, Caesar, but not gone.
Hail, Caesar. Read this schedule.
Trebonius doth desire you to read at your best leisure this, his humble suit.
Oh, Caesar, read mine first. For mine's a suit that touches Caesar nearer. Read it, great Caesar.
What touches us ourselves shall be last served.
Delay not, Caesar. Read it instantly.
What, is the fellow mad?
Sirrah, give place.
What, urge you your petitions in the street? Come to the capital.
Okay, so let's pause for just a second. I want you to notice Caesar sees the soothsayer and he's like, haha, the Ides of March are here. And look, I'm still alive. Buddy, you were wrong. The soothsayer says, aye, Caesar, but they're not gone yet. There's a whole 24-hour period, buddy. You have a lot of opportunities today to die. You're not out of the woods yet, is the soothsayer's point. Caesar's like, silly. Don't talk crazy. So he, of course, ignores the soothsayer. Then Artemidorus, remember he had that list of all the people who, mean him harm. And he's like, Caesar, please read this first. This is about you. This touches you the closest. So it's about you, Caesar, privately, you the man, Caesar. Caesar actually says, what touches us ourselves shall be last served. I care about the people of Rome. If this petition, if this note is just for me and it'll help me personally, that's not nearly as important as if it would help Rome. Caesar, you're making a bit of a mistake there, buddy. A little bit of a mistake. Okay, so now they're going into the Capitol building.
I wish your enterprise today may thrive. What enterprise, Popilius? Fare you well.
Okay, so somebody just walked up, Popilius just walks up to Cassius and is like, good luck today with your enterprise. And Cassius is like, people know. What are we going to do? He's a little worried.
Said Popilius Lena, he wished today our enterprise might thrive. I fear our purposes discover it. Look how he makes to Caesar. Mark him, Casca. Be sudden, for we fear prevention. Brutus, what shall be done? If this be known, Cassius or Caesar never shall turn back, for I will slay myself. Cassius, be constant. Popilius Lena speaks not of our purposes, for look, he smiles, and Caesar doth not change. But Trebonius knows his time. For look you, Brutus, he draws Mark Antony out of the way. Where?
Okay. So they look over, and Popilius is talking to Caesar. And as he's standing there talking to Caesar in the Capitol building there, Caesar looks happy, Popilius looks happy, everybody's happy, okay? And Cassius is like, if they found out, I'm gonna kill myself. And Brutus is like, dude, chill out. They're both looking pretty happy. That's not how you look whenever you're hearing about a plot. Can you imagine if Popilius knew that Caesar was about to die? He wouldn't be walking up to Caesar and being like, hi, Caesar. Look happy, okay, buddy? But I'm gonna tell you some really bad stuff. You're about to die. Smile. All right, good. That would not be possible. He'd be like, Caesar, I have something to tell you. We probably need to go outside real quick because I think people are gonna kill you. And it would look weird, right? Caesar and Popilius are both smiling. Obviously what Popilius said wasn't about the conspirators' plot to kill Caesar. The other thing, Brutus says, Cassius says, oh good, Trebonius has a very special job. Trebonius has to take Mark Antony away because they need to make sure Mark Antony is nowhere near. He will not let all of these men stab Caesar. He'd go down fighting. He'd take out his sword. He's a military man. Mark Antony and Caesar could get back to back. And they're both these huge military leaders. They know how to work a sword, right? All these guys have little daggers and stuff. They're senators. I don't know. I've never stabbed anything, So they have no idea. You have Mark Antony and Caesar. If they went back to back in this whole situation with all the senators around them, they could take out the entire Senate, probably. I mean, I'm just saying, warriors versus politicians who wouldn't, do things with their hands kill people. Oh, gross. Okay, so they're getting Mark Antony out of the way. Trebonius is the one who distracted Antony and got him out of the way. He's asking him a special question. So it says, exit Antony and Trebonius. Antony isn't there. Caesar really needs him to be there.
Where is Metellus Cimber? Let him go and presently prefer his suit to Caesar.
He is addressed. Press near and second him. Casca, you are the first that rears your hand.
Are we...
One thing, Metellus Cimber is the person who's supposed to kind of distract Caesar by asking him to take back a decree that he has made about Metellus's brother. So that's kind of the next thing, is he's going to approach Caesar and have a special request for him about his family. It's going to distract Caesar and allow all the senators to gather around. Not what you want.
Already. What is now amiss that Caesar and his Senate must redress?
Most high, most mighty, and most puissant Caesar, Metellus Cimber throws before thy seat an humble heart.
I must prevent thee, Cimber. These couchings and these lowly courtesies might fire the blood of ordinary men, and turn preordinance and first decree into the law of children. Be not fond to think that Caesar bears such rebel blood that will be thawed from the true quality with that which melteth fools. I mean sweet words, low crooked curtsies, and base spaniel fawning. Thy brother by decree is banished. If thou dost bend and pray and fawn for him, I spurn thee like a cur out of my way. No, Caesar doth not wrong, nor without cause will he be satisfied.
Okay, so Caesar already had an idea about what Metellus wanted. Metellus wanted to ask about his brother, and that the decree that has been enacted on his brother, that be taken away. Okay, so his brother, Publius Cimber, Caesar has, kind of written, has said he is exiled, he's done some bad stuff. Metellus is supposed to ask, hey, Caesar, could you take that back? Because that's my brother, and I don't want him to be gone, and that's mean. And so Caesar's like, no, when I decree something, it sticks because I am the law, is kind of what Caesar's saying, which, danger.
Is there no voice more worthy than my own, to sound more sweetly in great Caesar's ear for the repealing of my banished brother?
I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, Caesar, desiring thee that Publius Cimber may have an immediate freedom of repeal.
What? Brutus?
Pardon, Caesar. Caesar, pardon. As low as to thy foot doth Cassius fall, to beg enfranchisement for Publius Cimber.
Okay, so Metellus Cimber says there's nobody better to ask for my brother for his banishment to be revoked than me, his brother. And then Brutus steps in, okay, and like they're all getting really super close to Caesar right now, okay? So Metellus is right there in front of Caesar. Then Brutus gets right up there in front of him too, and he's like, I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, Caesar. Wanting you to release Publius Caesar from this banishment. Then Cassius slides in. He gets really close. He actually kneels down right at Caesar's foot. Caesar's like sitting on kind of like, think of like a throne type of thing. And Cassius gets down by his foot. And he says, I'm begging enfranchisement for Publius Cimber. They are placing themselves really close to Caesar's physical body. But Caesar isn't catching on that he is in immediate danger. He thinks that they're just all really involved in this whole Publius Cimber, being unbanished situation. Let's listen to Caesar's big decree for Publius Cimber. Remember, that's not actually the point of what's going on. They're just getting close. But he thinks they're asking for this guy to be, his banishment to be revoked.
I could be well moved if I were as you. If I could pray to move, prayers would move me. But I am constant as the northern star, of whose true fixed and resting quality there is no fellow in the firmament. The skies are painted with unnumbered sparks, they are all fire, and every one doth shine. But there's but one in all doth hold his place, so in the world. 'Tis furnished well with men, and men are flesh and blood and apprehensive. Yet in the number I do know but one that unassailable holds on his rank, unshaked of motion, and that I am he, let me a little show it, even in this, that I was constant Cimber should be banished, and constant do remain to keep him so.
Okay, so Caesar's last big speech is all about how unmoved he is. He says, but I am constant as the northern star. So think of that north star, that due north, that's kind of like a compass type of idea. If we can find the North Star, we know the direction we're going. He starts out with, I could be well moved if I were as you. So if I were as weak as you guys, like I could think, ooh, his punishment should be revoked. Because people who are weak change their minds on punishments. But not Caesar. He is constant as the northern star. He goes on and on about how he's unshaken. He's unmoved. He will not be put into motion. He's consistent and constant. Mere men can be moved, but not Caesar. And he says, of course I'm not going to change my mind. I decreed that he should be banished. Why would I change my mind on that? And this is basically his last big speech. Let's see what happens. Remember, the point is not trying to get Publius Cimber unbanished. The point is getting really close to Caesar's physical body so they can do this dastardly deed.
Oh, Caesar!
Hence, wilt thou lift up Olympus?
Great Caesar!
Doth not Brutus bootless kneel?
Speak hands for me!
Et tu, Brute? Then fall, Caesar.
Okay, so Caesar compares himself to Mount Olympus. He says, hence, wilt thou lift up Olympus? Can you move a mountain? I'm like Mount Olympus. I'm so unmovable. And he's talking about Brutus kneeling. Brutus, what are you kneeling? You're not going to change my mind. Like, I'm gonna keep this punishment. Again, it's not the point. All the conspirators are around him. And Casca says, speak hands for me. That's the words. That is pull out your dagger and go for Caesar. So of course we have like 30 seconds of stabbing and grunting noises because they're killing Caesar. Caesar, as he's dying, this is coming from all areas. They think like he got stabbed like 20 something times. As he's dying, evidently his gaze crosses Brutus at some point. So Brutus, who had kind of been in front of him, well, as Caesar's being stabbed, he's probably like looking behind him trying to figure out who the heck this was, and it's happening a lot. Eventually his gaze rests back on Brutus, and he says, "Et tu, Brute," which means, "And you, Brutus? Really? I thought we were friends. Like, I thought you cared for me. I thought you loved me." He says, "Then falls Caesar. Like, gosh, even my friends are killing me." And he dies. Let's see what the conspirators say now.
Liberty! Freedom! Tyranny is dead! Run hence, proclaim, cry it about the streets.
Some to the common pulpits and cry out, liberty, freedom, and enfranchisement. People and senators, be not affrighted. Fly not. Stand still. Ambition's debt is paid.
Go to the pulpit, Brutus.
And Cassius too.
Where's Publius?
Here, quite confounded with this mutiny. Stand fast together, lest some friend of Caesar's should chance.
To talk not of standing. Publius, good cheer. There is no harm intended to your person, nor to no Roman else. So tell them, Publius.
And leave us, Publius, lest that the people rushing on us should do your age some mischief.
Do so, and let no man abide this deed but we the doers.
Where is Antony? Fled to his house amazed.
Okay, so they all decide, like they start shouting, "Liberty, freedom, tyranny is dead." Proclaim it in the streets. Liberty, freedom, enfranchisement. So the tyrant is dead. Liberty, long live liberty is kind of what they're saying. And they want Brutus and they want Cassius to go out into the streets and to give speeches so the people understand exactly why this has happened. It's not that they didn't kill Caesar just because they wanted to kill him. They killed a tyrant. So they want the people to appreciate this action that they've taken where they took out this tyrant, this man who would be king. And now somebody's just started asking, "Hey, where's Antony?" Well, evidently he ran home.
Men, wives, and children stare, cry out, and run as it were doomsday.
Fates, we will know your pleasures. That we shall die, we know. 'Tis but the time and drawing days out that men stand upon.
Why, he that cuts off 20 years of life cuts off so many years of fearing death.
Grant that, and then is death a benefit. So are we Caesar's friends that have abridged his time of fearing death. Stoop, Romans. Stoop. And let us bathe our hands in Caesar's blood, up to the elbows, and besmear our swords. Then walk we forth, even to the marketplace, and waving our red weapons o'er our heads, let's all cry, peace, freedom, and liberty.
Stoop then, and wash. How many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted over in states unborn and accents yet unknown?
How many times shall Caesar bleed in sport, that now on Pompey's basis lies along no worthier than the dust?
So oft.
Let's pause for just a second. So Brutus has this really great idea that they should bathe their hands in Caesar's blood up to their elbows and go out and tell everybody that peace, freedom, and liberty. They've killed Caesar. Blood, obviously, they've taken his life because they want for Rome peace, freedom, and liberty. And Cassius, man, he's all over this idea. He's like, man, this is a solid idea. He says, yes, let's wash our hands in his blood. Awesome. How many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted out over in states unborn and accents yet unknown? This is Shakespeare giving a little bit of a tip of the hat to, hey, when this happened, there weren't people speaking English in Great Britain yet. There weren't people who knew this story in Great Britain yet. So he's kind of creating a line here about how the impact of these deeds, what these senators do today, that they've just taken out this tyrant. This is going to be something that people will be seeing forever. This will be a scene that for all time will be reenacted. Cassius is right, but not in the way he thinks. He thinks that people will be reenacting the scene to honor them and to be impressed with their bravery and their courage in taking out this tyrant. In fact, it's the exact opposite. They stabbed Caesar in the back multiple times. Matter of fact, the idea of stabbing someone in the back, whenever you say that, we all have an image of that person that you thought was close to you. You thought he or she was your friend. You allow your back to be to that person because you trust they won't harm you. And then you got stabbed in the back. For all time, this is what that means. Somebody you cared for and somebody who's close to you that you rely on and you trust betrays you.
As that shall be, so often shall the not of us be called the men that gave their country liberty.
What? Shall we forth?
Aye, every man away. Brutus shall lead, and we will grace his heels with the most boldest and best hearts of Rome.
Soft, who comes here? A friend of Antony's.
Thus, Brutus, did my master bid me kneel. Thus did Mark Antony bid me fall down, and being prostrate, thus he bade me say, Brutus is noble, wise, valiant, and honest. Caesar was mighty, bold, royal, and loving. Say, I love Brutus, and I honor him. Say, I feared Caesar, honored him, and loved him. If Brutus will vouchsafe that Antony may safely come to him and be resolved how Caesar hath deserved to lie in death, Mark Antony shall not love Caesar dead so well as Brutus living, but will follow the fortunes and affairs of noble Brutus, thorough the hazards of this untrod state with all true faith. So says my master Antony.
Their master is a wise and valiant Roman. I never thought him worse. Tell him, so please him, come unto this place. He shall be satisfied, and by my honor depart untouched.
I'll fetch him presently.
Okay, so Mark Antony has sent his servant, and he basically wants Brutus to vow that he will be safe, that Mark Antony can come to these Roman senators who have just killed Caesar, that he can approach them. Mark Antony told his servant to say, I love Brutus, and I honor Brutus. Say, I feared Caesar, honored him, and loved him. If Brutus will vouchsafe that Antony may safely come to him and be resolved, Mark Antony shall not love Caesar dead more so well as Brutus living, but will follow the fortune and affairs of noble Brutus and the other senators. And Brutus is like, wow, your master is a wise and valiant Roman. Yeah, tell him, come on in. No problem. Like, that's great. Man, we really appreciate him understanding that Caesar needed to be taken out. I mean, he was becoming a tyrant. So this is pretty awesome that Mark Antony seems to really, really get that, and he really understands what we've done. Okay, I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to break this up into 2 videos, so I'm going to start the next video in just a moment, okay? Okay.